um, Welcome back. Thank you for being here. Hope you got to enjoy some sunshine, some warmth this weekend. I spent lots of time outside, and it was very pleasant to just bask in the sun a little bit, get a little bit extra vitamin D in my weekend. So hopefully you got a little bit of that good weather wherever you are. Starting off with our scan of the body today. So starting from the top of the head, moving to the tips of the toes. As you take that scan, just noticing how you're feeling this evening, noticing what's going on in your body, where those points of tension are, where those spaces that need that little bit of extra love and care and attention as we get started. And as always, also those spaces that feel particularly good this evening, that are feeling like you'll be able to challenge them a little bit. And this is without any judgment. We're just noticing how we're feeling, noticing where those places are so that you can make this practice work as best as possible for you. As you take that scan, as you notice those points of tension, I'd like to invite you to begin with any initial range of motion that best suits your practice. So, like I said, maybe it's that cat cow from hands and knees. Maybe it's down on your back, knees in towards the chest, rocking side to side. Maybe you're seated and you find that spinal twist, that lateral stretch. Maybe it's just a fold forward. Taking a couple of moments here to just find any of those initial ranges of motion that'll best serve you, and taking those nice deep breaths to come into them. So finding those big inhales and exhales. As you do inhale, allowing space for the lungs to expand through the chest, through the ribs, through the belly. And as you exhale, maybe letting your jaw release and relax, maybe letting your tongue come away from the roof of your mouth, maybe letting your shoulders release a little bit lower away from your ears. Maybe you can send that exhale to one of those points of tension. Two more nice deep breaths in any of those initial ranges of motion, and then we'll bring it back to that comfortable seated. So just taking that moment, readjusting if you started at hands and knees or in that downward facing dog, making that adjustment, bringing it on over and finding that comfortable seated. As always, the comfortable seated does not need to be with those legs crossed. You could have them out long. You could have those knees bent and those feet planted, whatever is comfortable for you. We're going to start with two nice deep breaths, leading with those arms. So with your next big inhale, I'd like to invite you to go ahead and take those arms out and up towards the ceiling. When you get to the top, take a little pause for me. Just stretch up nice and long away from center. Fingertips up. Maybe you lift the chin a little bit. Maybe it stays low. And then that next big exhale brings those arms down and around. Same thing with that little pause one more time. Our inhale takes us up. Little pause at the top, nice big stretch. Maybe you hold your breath, and then that big exhale allows us to release and relax, and those shoulders nice and low away from the ears. Like I said, tongue comes away from the roof of the mouth, that jaw, and the muscles in the face relax. Let's take that into our lateral stretch. Big inhale, once again, take those arms out and up. When you get to the top, this time, instead of coming down and around, right hand comes down towards the mat. Maybe the elbow comes down. The left arm comes up over top, trying to keep those shoulders squared, so not closing them towards the floor, towards the mat, but keep them open, however low you can go into that. That next big inhale brings us up through center. Nice long arms, nice long spine. And then that exhale down to that second side. Same thing, try and keep that chest open, those shoulders stacked. From here, I'd like to invite you to go ahead and take this at a pace that feels good for you. So you can move a little bit faster. You can keep those nice long pauses in there. That nice side to side, keep it moving right like that. Really finding that opening from those fingertips that are up over top down to that hip that we're trying to keep in contact with the mat. So if you're getting so deep that you feel it lift off of the mat, just release just a little bit and keep it right there so that our hip can still be on the mat. Go ahead once more in each direction. If you need that third change of direction just to even up, feel free to take it. We're going to go right into our spinal twist after that second direction. So as soon as you finish it out, you've got those same two options as always. You can come up nice and long and go right into it, or up nice and long, release those arms, inhale to your long spine, and exhale into that first direction. We're going to take our spinal twist at a pace that feels good for you. So go ahead and start moving at whatever pace that is. Maybe you need that little hold. As always, the arms can come up long as you come through center, or you can leave them low as you track through center. Either option is excellent. And again, on this one, just kind of timing that breath with your range of motion. And like I said during that warm up, allowing those breaths, those big inhales to fill you, allowing the lungs to expand, and allowing those exhales to find that little bit of release or maybe that little bit deeper of a stretch into this spinal twist. Keeping it moving twice more in each direction. So that's 4 more nice deep breaths. And then that once more in each direction. As always, if you were on the opposite side, whenever I said that, feel free to take that third change of direction or that fifth change of direction just to even out. When you finish, bring it back to center. And if you were taking those arms up overhead, go ahead and release them down and around. Alrighty. From here, go ahead and when you finish those out and take your time, that last one or two, nice big shoulder rolls after that. So choosing that first direction, nice big circles. Maybe that's the first time you've done this today. Maybe you found that little bit of tension in the shoulders when we took that scan. That's okay. Go ahead and change that direction. Same thing other way. Nice big circles, be towards the front. We're bringing it back. Nice. 2 more in that second direction. And then go ahead and release those shoulders nice and low away from the ears. Just a roll of the head and the neck twice in each direction. Inhale to your long spine. Exhale, chin drops to the chest. Right ear comes towards that right shoulder. Feel free to reach that left hand down towards the mat or around behind the back. Exhale brings the head back down through center. Left ear towards the left shoulder. Same thing with those right arms. And then once more each direction. Chin to chest. Right ear to right shoulder. And then chin to chest. Left ear to left shoulder. Go ahead, take that chin back down towards the chest one more time. Gently placing that hand right on the back of the head, right on the crown of the head, and just trying to bring a little bit of pressure if you need it, just to find that little bit deeper of a stretch through the back of the neck. And that next exhale, go ahead and release that hand, lift that head back up nice and long. Make sure those shoulders are nice and low away from the ears. If you have those legs folded in like I do, feel free to keep that right leg folded in. Take that left leg out long. We're going to just do a little fold and twist series. So first we're going to fold towards that leg. If you like to turn the torso towards it when you fold towards it, feel free to do that. And then those fingertips come down towards the shin, the ankle, the toes. We'll come out of it and into it just one more time. So finding that nice stretch. Like I said, coming out of it just once. So our next inhale brings us back up to that nice long spine, releases a little bit of that tension, and then go ahead and take it right back down into it. Again, fingertips towards the shin, the ankle, the toes. Maybe they wrap all the way around. Maybe you use that strap to get that little bit of extra length. All right, we're going to turn this into a little bit deeper of a lateral stretch. I want you to keep those left fingertips down towards the foot. Circle that right arm up and over so that those fingertips come up towards the ceiling. So that same as that seated lateral stretch, that same side hand is down towards the toes. Opposite side hand is up over top. Opposite side hip is still in contact with the mat. Go ahead and bring it down. We're going to spinal twist in the other direction. So this time, that right hand, that back of that right hand is going to come to the outside of that leg, wherever it reaches. So up a little further, down a little further. And then we're going to open that left arm just towards that side wall. So maybe it comes out to about your 90 degrees. Maybe you get it closer to your 180. Wherever that feels good, putting that little bit of pressure through the back of that right hand to open up into that spinal twist. Next exhale brings that back down. And then we inhale to roll it back up, nice long spine. Keep that left leg out, take that right leg out long as well. If you're facing the short edge of your mat, just slightly wider than the short edge of your mat. So not super wide, but just a little bit. And we're just gonna take it right down the center. So fingertips walking it on down. Maybe you keep those toes pointed up. Maybe you can let them release and relax a little bit. Maybe try and open those shoulder blades, let the head and the neck relax a little bit. So maybe you'll feel this stretch through your back a little bit more than through the backs of your legs. And same as that first side, we're going to come out of that and into this one more time. So our inhale brings us back up to that nice long spine. Maybe you release it a little bit, bring the hands behind the hips, open through the chest, find that stretch, and then we'll take it right back into it. Holding it forward, fingertips coming down in between. Nice big stretch again, maybe through the backs of the legs, or maybe you feel it a little bit more through the shoulders. Awesome. Next inhale pulls us back up to that long spine. We just got to hit that other side here. So folding that left foot in. Again, we've got that fold first, into it and out of it, out of it and into it twice. So folding it towards those right toes, towards the shin, towards the ankle, wherever you can reach to. A nice big stretch. And we'll just come out of it and into it one more time with that next inhale. Back up to that nice long spine. And then exhale into it. Fabulous. While we're down here, we've got those two stretches. First one, lateral. So right fingertips towards right toes. Left arm comes up over top. Nice big stretch here. Go ahead and circle that back down and around and take that arm to the outside of that right foot, opening that right arm towards that side wall, towards that back wall. So again, maybe you just reach that 90. If you've got a little bit of a weird feeling through the spine or the shoulder, that's okay. Just take it to where you can feel that stretch. It doesn't need to be super deep. And then that exhale brings that hand back down, and we inhale to roll it up. We're going to spend just a few moments down on our back just to get it started, because we are doing that camel. So I want to start with a little bit of glute activation, a little back activation, and then we'll move into our flow. So I'm just going to adjust sideways so you guys can see me facing the short edge of that mat. And then we're going to roll it on down onto our back. When you get there, go ahead and bring those knees to bent and those feet to planted. All right, so taking this first moment while we're here to just notice your lower back. So if you have a little bit of a natural curve in your lower back, maybe sitting with those knees bent and those feet planted brings it a little bit closer than if you had those legs out long, and you might feel that as opposed to when you're doing a core movement there, changing that up a little bit. I do want you to think about rounding out your lower back towards the floor for just a moment. So pressing those hips under, pressing that pelvis so that it kind of tilts in the opposite direction, or the same direction as what we did last week with those lunges in our Yoga Pilates Wednesday class. And then just release that one more time. So we're just going to press it down one more time. So pressing the lower back into the floor, kind of flattening the spine a little bit, and then bringing it back up. This time when we do it, and we're going to do this one final time, I just want you to think about activating the core as well. So the lower back presses in, and then pulling the belly button in towards the spine, activating the core, knitting the abs together, and then go ahead and release. From here, a little bit of a different activation. We want a posterior chain activation. We're going to do a glute bridge. I want you to go ahead and press those hips up towards the ceiling. We're going to take a moment and pause here when you get to the top, taking a look, making sure you have a nice long line from those knees to the hips, down to the shoulders. You can plant those hands for a little bit more stability. The back of the head is down, pressing into the mat. We're squeezing not only through the glutes, but we're activating through the lower back and the hamstrings, and pressing the whole bottom of the foot down into the floor. Next exhale releases for just a moment, so letting those muscles just a moment to relax and release. And then we're going to press back up into it one more time. So pressing those hips up, finding that activation. This time I do want you to definitely place those palms down on the floor. Press those hands down in, pressing those hips up nice and high. All right, and we're going to add that core activation by marching those knees. If this is something that typically works for you, you can keep both feet planted firmly on the floor. If it is, we're finding that activation by pulling that left knee up towards the chest, keeping it at our 90-degree angle that it was when we had that foot planted, keeping those hips even, placing it back down, and then switching sides. So trying not to let your hips rock side to side as we find this march up and this activation. Really working on keeping those glutes engaged, keeping that lower back engaged, and finding that activation through the whole posterior chain, the whole back of the body. Excellent. We're just going to be here for another 10 seconds. Stick with me here. Keep marching those knees in. Keep those hips nice and high. Don't let them drop. Don't let them rock. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and let those hips come down to the floor. Pull those knees in towards the chest. Take just a moment there, and now we can rock a little bit side to side, or maybe in a little circle. All right, awesome. And we're going to roll up and over. So just take a little rock and roll just to give yourself some momentum, and then bring it on up to seated. When you get there, we're going to make our transition to where we're going to get started, which will be standing today. So as always, feel free to find any small range of motion that you need to make that adjustment up, and feel free to grab a sit while you're on your way. We're going to get moving. We're going to get into that flow. Oh, and hopefully my congestion. All right. Fabulous. Okay, so normally when we start standing, we start at the top of our mat. We're just going to make a small adjustment today. We're just going to bring it slightly backwards. So not all the way to the middle of the mat, but kind of at like there's 3/4 and 1/4. So we're a little bit closer to the middle than we normally would be. Maybe 1/3 of the way. That's fractions. Math is not my strong suit. All right. So we're starting in that mountain pose. As usual, those feet can be right under the hips or a little narrower or wider if you would like them to be. We are going to go into our chair. So if that makes that adjustment at all for you, feel free to make that adjustment. And we're going to start here with 2 nice deep breaths, same as we did when we were seated. That inhale takes us out and up. Nice long arms up towards the ceiling, nice long spine. Exhale just circles the arms down and around. On this one, we'll go into our fold. Inhale takes us up. Exhale takes us into our forward fold. All right, taking just a moment in this fold, this nice intense inversion here. Maybe you've got a gentle bend in the backs of those legs. You did a little lower body warm up, but this is a little bit different. Taking just a moment, maybe let the head and the neck relax, maybe let the shoulders relax. Maybe you find that opposite elbow with that opposite hand, that little bit of movement side to side. Awesome. If you did find that side to side or that ragdoll arms, go ahead and release them down. We're right back at center. We're finding our halfway lift. Inhale to that nice flat back, that long spine. I want that same core activation when you come into this halfway lift as you would for your chair or as we just did for that glute bridge. Exhale folds us forward once again. Awesome. We're going to take this into our chair. So when you find that next inhale, sweep those arms up, sink those hips back. Find that core activation again. Find that super long spine. We've got that nice bend in those knees. All right, awesome. We're going to find a little bit of a more challenging transition down towards our camel pose. So what I want you to do is you've got 2 options. More intense option, bend those knees a little further, bring one foot down or one knee down, and then the other, we're finding that long spine. If that's not something that's going to work for you, feel free to bring those hands down, then those knees down, and then bring it up to that long spine. So make that adjustment based on how you're feeling, where you're at. We're up here nice and tall, up overhead. We're nice and long from the fingertips down to the knees. All right, from here, we're going to find our little bit of a drift back to prepare us for our camel. So I want you to just go ahead and take those arms out right in line with those shoulders. We're going to keep our spine nice and long. We're going to keep our posterior chain activated just like we worked on. And we're going to kind of come into the same position that we were when we were in our glute bridge. So just drifting backwards so those shoulders are almost in line with those heels. Keep that core engaged, keep that spine long, and then press it back up. Nice. We're going to do that 3 more times for a total of 4. Drifting back to that nice long spine so those shoulders are almost in line with those heels, and then bring it back up. Excellent. 2 more. Pressing it back. Little hold and then drift back up. You might feel this through your quads too. I know I certainly do. Last time. Drift it on back. And then bring it on up. Excellent. When you get there, this is why we just shifted a little bit backwards. We're going to bring it right down to hands and knees. So if you need to still make that little adjustment like I do, feel free to. So those knees are right underneath those hips. Those wrists are right underneath those shoulders. We've got 2 cats and cows. Our inhale presses the belly towards the floor, the hips, and maybe the chin lift. Our exhale rounds the spine up towards the ceiling. Tucks those hips underneath and that chin underneath. Same thing one more time. Inhale presses the belly towards the floor. Exhale rounds the spine up towards the ceiling. Go ahead and bring it back to neutral with that next inhale. We're going to do 1 thread the needle on each side. Your first inhale lifts that right arm up off the floor, up towards the ceiling. Our exhale brings it down, threads it underneath, place that right shoulder down onto the mat in that spinal twist. That left hand can stay right where it is, extend out long, or come up and around for that half bind to just add a little bit more intensity. Just 1 more nice deep breath here in this first side, thread the needle. If you did find that bind, replant that hand, bring that right hand back to the mat. We're back at hands and knees. Same thing other side. Left arm lifts with that next inhale. Exhale brings us down and through. That left shoulder meets the mat. Maybe the head comes down, those hips stay nice and high. Again, that right arm can stay here, it can extend out, or it can come around behind the back for that half bind, just serving to open those shoulders a little bit more towards that right wall. One more breath. Nice. If you found that bind, go ahead and replant that hand. Bring that left hand back up. We're back in that hands and knees position. From here, we're taking it to our downward facing dog. So curling those toes under, readjust the feet if you need to, press those hips up and back. First down dog, take a moment, pedal up the heels. Maybe your calves are a little bit sore today, so this might feel good. Maybe this inversion feels a little bit more intense than that forward fold. That's okay. Give your body that space it needs to make this practice work for it. Awesome. We're going to take our three-legged dog to our half pigeon. So right foot presses up and back. Nice little bend in that left knee as we bring that right knee underneath. The shin meets the mat underneath those hips. Top of the left foot meets. We sink those hips down. Take one breath to find that nice long spine, and then sink into it however deeply you'd like to. So maybe it just comes down to those palms. Maybe it comes down to those elbows. Maybe the forehead comes all the way to the backs of those hands. Maybe your hips look a little different than mine. That's okay if you're a little further up on your shin, especially if those glutes are tight or that left hip flexor is tight. That is totally fine. We've got two nice deep breaths down in this half pigeon. Fabulous. Alrighty, with your next inhale, if you are not on those palms already, bring it back to those palms. We're going to go through our three-legged dog to our downward facing dog to our other side. So curl that left toe under, lift the knee. As you send those hips up and back, that right foot goes up and back for one more little stretch of that hip flexor, and then you place the right foot down next to the left. Adjust your weight if you need to, and then the left foot goes up and back. Nice little stretch. Bend that right knee as you sweep that left leg underneath. That shin meets the mat. That top of that right foot meets the mat. Same concept. One inhale brings us up to our long spine. Our exhale sinks us down into it. Again, palms, elbows, forehead to the backs of those hands. Maybe your hips look a little bit different. Maybe this side feels a little bit different. That's okay. Two more nice deep breaths. Fabulous. With that next inhale, if you're not already on those palms, go ahead and bring it to those palms. Same thing, we've got our three-legged dog to our downward facing dog. Curling that right toe under as you send those hips up. That left leg goes up and back, three-legged dog, and then that left foot comes down to meet the right. Alrighty. From here, we're going to take it down to our dolphin just briefly. You've got two options for that transition. Your upper body and your shoulders are feeling pretty good today. You can just go ahead and place those forearms down on the mat, and then our body in the rest of its sense is still in that same positioning. If we're not there with those triceps or those shoulders, drop those knees, bring those forearms down, and then curl those toes under and press it up and back. So just making the transition a little easier on the shoulders. Those palms are planted on the mat. Those forearms are planted on the mat. Those elbows are planted on the mat. Those shoulders press just slightly back towards those hips so that we're still in that nice position with those hips up and back. Fabulous. We're going to float it out into a low plank. So if you need to adjust those feet a little bit, we want the shoulders right over the elbows and those hips in line with the shoulders. Very brief here. Just give me a 3, 2, and 1. We're going to lower our hips to the mat for our Sphinx. Top of those feet meet, just like our baby cobra. Those elbows are down. Maybe that slight lift of the chin, that chest lifts. And then just go ahead and lower the chest back down. Plant those hands right outside. Curl those toes under. Hips up and back, down dog. Awesome. All right, from here, we're going to step those feet forward, not all the way to those hands if your hands made their way back to the top of that mat, but we're back at that kind of 1/3 of the way down the mat. So bend those feet or bend those knees, step those feet forward, readjust if you need to. Our inhale takes us all the way up to that extended mat. Nice long spine, long arms overhead. Exhale circles the arms down and around. Awesome. We're back to the top. Let's keep it moving. Inhale takes us out now. Exhale folds us forward, fingertips down towards the toes. Inhale, halfway lift. Find that flat back, that long spine. Activate that core, pull the belly button in. Exhale folds us forward. Here comes our chair. Sweep those arms up, sink those hips back, finding just a moment in this, trying to find that nice long spine, that nice activated core, bending through those knees, fabulous work. All right, you've got those two transition options. We're bringing it down to our knees. So you can bring the hands down first and then the knees, or from this positioning, you can step it down so that that first knee meets and then that other does. When you do find that, we find our nice long spine, big stretch up towards the ceiling, and then those hands come down in line with the shoulders. We've got our 4 drift back still, same this time as it was last time. Nice long spine, we're drifting those shoulders back so they're almost in line with that heel. We're keeping the core activated and then pressing it back up. 3 more just like that. Excellent work, you guys. Pressing it back and then bringing it up. 2 more. Drift back, keep that core activated and pressing up. Excellent, last one. Last one. When you get to the edge there, let's go ahead and bring it down to hands and knees. This time we're just going to do 1 cat and cow. Our inhale presses the belly towards the floor, those hips, that chin lift. That exhale rounds the spine up towards the ceiling, tucks the chin and the hips underneath. Bring that spine back to neutral. Next inhale, lifts that right arm. A little briefer than last time, so don't place your shoulder all the way down on the ground. Right arm threads underneath, almost to that shoulder, so just into that spinal twist, and then back up to hands and knees. Same thing left side. Left arm lifts, almost all the way down and through. And then back up to that hands and knees position. From here, we've got our downward facing dog. Curling those toes under, pressing those hips up and back. 3-legged dog, right foot presses up and back. Bend that right knee, take that right foot under. Got our half pigeon, chase the mat. Top of that left foot meets the mat. Big inhale to take us up. Exhale to bring us down as deep as you'd like to go into this. So again, you can still keep it on those palms if that's what works better for you. Just one more nice deep breath here. Big inhale and exhale. If you were not on those palms, that next inhale pulls you back up to those palms. And then we're taking it through our 3-legged dog to our other side. So go ahead and plant those hands, curl that left toe under, right foot up and back. Set it down next to the left, and then the left foot up and back. Bend that right knee, sweep it underneath. Place that shin down on the mat, sink those hips down, top of that right foot meets. Inhale to that long spine. Exhale to sink into it. Fabulous. Taking that next inhale brings you back up to those palms. 3-legged dog to downward facing dog. Curl that toe under, send those hips up. 3-legged dog. And then that foot comes down to meet the other. This is our transition down to that dolphin. So again, you can drop those knees for your transition, or you can send those elbows right down to the mat, pressing those shoulders back. Fabulous. Out to that low plank. So shoulders come over elbows. Readjust those feet or those elbows if you need to. Low plank position. Keep that core pulled in. Keep those shoulder blades separated. Don't sink down towards the mat. Don't let that lower back sink down. Fabulous. Here comes that sphinx. Hips meet the mat. Top of those feet meet the mat. Those elbows stay down and that torso lifts. Fabulous. Go ahead and bring it down and then plant those hands, readjust them, curl those toes under, activate the core, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Excellent. Bend those knees, step up to that third of the way down the mat. Forward fold. Inhale rolls us all the way up, extended mountain. Arms come down and around with that exhale. All right, you guys, we're almost through that first 40 minutes. Brief break for a little bit of a sip, and then we're going to go through it one more time, getting into that camel prep with those feet down, those hands down on the heels, same as we have before with that half prep first. When we get into that second meeting, we will go towards that full camel. Alrighty. So taking a moment, find any range that you need. If you need a little spinal twist or anything, bringing it back to that foot positioning, that'll get us into our chair, that'll get us into that hands and knees position. We've got our 2 deep breaths. The first one is just with those arms. The second one's into that fold. Join us whenever you're ready. Inhale takes us up. Exhale brings the arms down. Second one brings us to that fold. Inhale takes us up. Exhale folds it forward, fingertips towards the toes. Halfway lift. Inhale, flat back, long spine. Activate that core. Exhale, folds it forward. Chair pose. Here we go. Sweep those arms up. Sink those hips back. Keep that spine nice and long. Keep that nice bend in those knees. Try not to hinge too far forward with those hips. So we're keeping that posterior chain activated. We're bringing it down to those knees. So again, you can fold it forward first. Use the hands for support, or you can step it directly down. Either way, go ahead and bring it up to that nice long spine. All right, we're going to bring those hands out in front of the shoulders. Now for this one, if you know that your lower back is not going to cooperate very well with this back bend, with this camel, you can stay with those drift backs. For that half camel, we're going to do one on each side. For those drift backs, you should have about enough time to do 4 still. So our half is going to take that hand down to that heel. However, first, we're going to find our drift. So taking it back about that 3/4 of the way, so the shoulders are almost in line with the heels. You should be able to kind of dangle that hand right down. And then I like to press it right onto my heel. That's a comfortable spot for me. From here, keeping our spine long, keeping our core engaged, you can reach up towards the ceiling if you'd like to add that extra bit of intensity. So we're not quite in a back bend. We're not letting the stomach go out towards that front wall. We're finding this position. Excellent. We're going to use this arm to come up and over. So use it for that little bit of momentum. Press off, come up to that long spine. Same thing, second side, just once. Here we go. So we're drifting back. That left hand this time comes down. And again, if you'd like that extra intensity, that right arm can reach or that opposite arm can reach. Keep that core tucked in, keep it engaged. Nice, and then using that momentum again. So using that right arm to kind of come up and over, finding that long spine position, and then down to hands and knees for our cat and cow. Once again, we've got one of those. Our inhale presses the belly towards the floor, lifts those hips, maybe that chin. Our exhale rounds the spine up towards the ceiling, tucks that chin and those hips underneath. Bringing it back to center. One thread the needle on each side. Inhale, right arm comes up. Spinal twist, down and through. Bringing that back to center. Next inhale, left arm comes up. And then down and through. And then bringing that back to center. Downward facing dog is next. Curling those toes under, pressing those hips up and back. 3-legged dog takes us to half pigeon. Right foot presses up and back. Bend that left knee, sweep that right underneath. Shin meets the mat. Top of that left foot meets the mat. Inhale to our long spine. Exhale to bring it down. Just one nice deep breath here. Excellent. Go ahead and bring it back up to those palms. Got to hit that second side here. So go ahead and curl that left toe under. Lift the knee, send the hips up. Right foot, 3-legged dog for that transition. Right foot comes down next to the left. And then left foot, 3-legged dog. Press it up and back, little stretch. Bend the right knee. The left leg sweeps underneath. That shin meets the mat. That top of that foot meets the mat. Big inhale up. Exhale down. Awesome. Nice deep breath here. Next inhale brings us up to those palms. We've got that 3-legged dog to that last time to our downward facing dog. Curl that right toe under, lift the knee, send those hips up, left leg up and back. It comes down to meet the right. We're coming down to our dolphin to finish out here. Again, you can drop those knees first, or you can set those elbows directly down, pressing those hips back. Just a moment here, and then let's take it out to that low plank. So readjust those feet or those elbows if you need to. Those shoulders are right over top of those elbows. Nice. One more breath here. Big inhale. Exhale. And release those hips down to the mat. Top of those feet meet, little sphinx. Nice. Lower it down. Downward facing dog. Plant those hands. Send those hips up. Bend those knees. Step or hop forward to that third of the way. Inhale rolls us all the way up to our extended mountain. We're going to take one lateral stretch in each direction. Right hand comes down, left arm comes up over top. Inhale brings us up through center. Exhale, second side. Inhale up through center. And exhale, circles those arms down and around. All right, starting at our third of the way down the mat once again. And we'll start this time again with 2 nice deep breaths. The second one will take us into our forward fold. So that first big inhale takes us out and up. Exhale, circles those arms down and around. Second one into that fold. Inhale takes us up. Exhale, folds us forward, fingertips towards those toes, towards the mat, towards the floor, maybe letting the head and the neck relax and release, maybe letting the spine round out a little bit more than normal. Excellent. Let's take our halfway lift with that next inhale. Flat backbone, spine, activated core. Exhale, folds it forward. Let's take it into our chair up next. Sink those arms up, sink those hips back. Find that nice long spine. Again, find that activated core, keeping that belly button pulled in towards the spine. Nice bend in those knees. Fabulous. Can you get a 1/2 centimeter deeper into this chair? Excellent. All right, let's take it down to kneeling. Same 2 options as before. Either way, when you get down there, finding that nice long spine. All right, so same as before. If this camel is not going to work for you, feel free to continue into those drift backs. We are going to do one of each side, and then we will do one full camel kind of briefly. So again, you can add that drift back if the full camel is something that's not going to work for you. Let's go ahead and take those hands down right in front. Got that first side. First and foremost, we're drifting back to that 3/4 of the way back, so the shoulders are hopefully kind of right over those heels. Right hand comes down to that heel, and that left arm lifts. Again, trying not to press those hips too far forward on this one. Keep that core engaged. Keep that arm nice and lifted. Fabulous. All right, use that little momentum with that left arm to bring us up and over, back to that long spine. We're switching it up. Same thing, second side. Drift it back. Left hand comes down, right arm comes up. Keep that core engaged. Nice, fabulous, fabulous. Use that right arm, give it that little momentum, come up, nice long spine. All right, give your arms just a second. Now here you get to make a decision. Since we're only going into this once from this for this time, you get to choose whichever side you're more comfortable with. So if you're righty, you like to come down to the right first, feel free to come down that way. We'll bring that second arm down to meet it. That may cause a little bit of those hips to move further forward than they do in that half camel, but that's okay. We just want to make sure that we're keeping the core engaged so the lower back is not put at any kind of risk. So we're going to start off, choose your side to go down to first. Right or left is fabulous. We're drifting back so that the shoulders are over the heels. We're sending that first arm down, trying to keep that core engaged. Circle that other arm down and around and try and find that heel. Take a moment. The shoulder blades might pull together so we open through the chest. Maybe you press those hips a little further forward if it feels good, but try and keep that core tucked in. Maybe let the head fall back if it feels good, depending on where you're at with back bends, with that lower back, with that posterior chain. One nice deep breath here. Excellent. And then use that same momentum. So bring that pressure to that first side. Use that momentum to come up and over. And then give that lower back a little bit of a break. So bring those hands down. We've got that cat and cow. We'll do 2 here. So our inhale presses the belly towards the floor, lift the hips, and possibly the chin. That exhale rounds the spine up towards the ceiling, tucks those hips underneath, opens the shoulder blades one more time. Inhale, belly towards the floor. Exhale, rounds the spine up. Nice. Go ahead and bring that spine back to neutral. We've got that one, thread the needle on each side. So right arm lifts with that inhale. That exhale brings us down and almost all the way through. Inhale either brings us back to center, or if you'd like to complete that, thread the needle with one more lift, you can. And then we've got that left side. So same thing, left arm lifts. We bring it down and almost all the way through. And then you can either bring it right back to center, or you can find that completion with that final. When you're done there, we're planting both of those hands. We've got our downward facing dog next. Curl those toes under, press those hips up and back. Right leg, 3-legged dog, press it up and back, nice little stretch. Exhale, sinks it underneath. That shin meets the mat underneath those hips. That top of that left foot meets. One inhale up nice and tall. Exhale sinks us into it. Again, it can be palms, it can be elbows. You can bring that head down. Fabulous. Go ahead and bring it back to those palms with your next inhale. And we just got to switch sides here. Curl that left toe under. Lift the knee as you send those hips up. That right foot goes up and back. That right foot comes down to meet the left. Left foot goes up and back, three-legged dog. Bend that right knee, sweep that left leg underneath. That shin meets the mat underneath those hips. That top of that right foot meets the mat. Inhale to our long spine. Exhale sinks us into it. Fabulous. With your next inhale, go ahead and bring it back to those palms. Nice. Curl that right toe under, lift the knee, send the hips up as that left foot goes up and back, three-legged dog. And then it comes down to meet the right, downward facing dog. Transitioning to our dolphin from the knees or from that down dog. Either option is fabulous. Choose the one that works best for you. Pressing those shoulders back so you've got a nice long line from the elbows to those hips. Excellent. Let's shift it out into that low plank. So make any small adjustment that you might need to make sure that those shoulders can be over those elbows. Those hips are nice and low. That core is engaged. We're not letting those shoulder blades drop towards the floor. We're not letting that lower back drop towards the floor. One more big inhale. Exhale, let those hips sink down. Top of those feet meet into that Sphinx. Option here, if you'd like it, to bring it into that cobra. Fabulous. Let's make that transition to our downward facing dog. So you can lower the chest if you'd like, or you can transition from that cobra directly to that down dog. Engage in that core, and then pressing those hips up and back. Nice. Go ahead and bend those knees. Step or hop those feet forward. Forward fold. Inhale rolls us all the way up, extended mountain. Exhale, circles the arms down and around. All right, excellent. We certainly have time for one more time through, so grab a sip if you'd like it. Find any range of motion if you'd like it, especially if that camel was a little intense for your lower back, maybe a little spinal twist, maybe a little extra forward fold. Alrighty, fabulous. Whew, they asked me to teach some gentle yoga for another program, and I was like, I don't know if I know how to do gentle. I get too hyped up when I'm in the middle of class. I want to go faster. All right, too used to how much you guys like to be challenged on Monday nights. 2 nice deep breaths. Starting with that first one, just leading with those arms. Big inhale takes us out. Exhale circles the arms down and around. Second one brings us to that fold. Inhale takes us out. Exhale folds us forward. Inhale takes us to that halfway lift. Nice flat back, long spine. Engaging that core, pulling it in underneath. Exhale folds us forward. All right, let's take it into our chair pose from here. Inhale, sits those arms up, sink those hips back, keep that spine nice and long. Excellent. Nice. All right, from here, we've got that transition down to those knees. So feel free to bring those hands down if you'd like first, or we're just bending those knees, planting them down. Go ahead and bring those arms down for just a second. All right, this time we are going to go back into our camel twice and find a little hold, same as before. If you prefer just those drifts, or if you prefer to do that half camel once or twice on each side, feel free to. So you've got all of those options, but choosing that first side, that favorite side to work with first, we're going to find that nice long spine, extend those arms out long, drift it back so those shoulders come at least almost in line with those heels. Take that first side, that favorite side down. Keep that spine as long as you can. Keep that core engaged, and then bring that other arm down. Again, maybe you're in one of those other 2 options. That is fabulous. We're taking 2 breaths wherever you are. So if we're in that full camel, take your breaths. Nice. When you're ready, if you're in that camel, use that little bit of momentum. Come on up out of it. Keep that lower back nice and safe. Get that core engaged. Nice. All right, one more time into it, or if you're in those drifts or in that half camel, taking about that amount of time again to keep it moving. Second side, maybe switch that side up if it feels good. We're taking that drift back. Those shoulders come right over those heels. That second side can come down first. Keep that core engaged. Bring that other side around to meet. And then again, maybe play around with this a little bit. So if it feels good to press your hips a little bit further forward, you can. But if you're someone who traditionally has lower back problems, maybe you keep them tucked in a little bit further. If it feels good to open through the chest, you can, but maybe that doesn't feel good, so you keep it closed. One more breath there. Fabulous. And then go ahead and use that momentum. Come on up out of it. Excellent work. Let's go ahead and bring it down. Release that spine with our cat and cows. So hands, wrists right under shoulders, knees right over hips. Inhale, belly towards the floor. That exhale rounds the spine up towards the ceiling. Tucks that chin and the hips underneath. One more time. Fabulous. Bringing that spine back to that nice neutral. We've got that single thread the needle on each side. For this last time, we're going to find that little bit of a hold. So that inhale takes that right arm up nice and long. Exhale brings us down and through. When you get down there, go ahead and place that right shoulder down on the mat for our nice deep spinal twist. Maybe that left arm stays where it is. Maybe it comes out long. Maybe you extend it up, face that palm around behind, and find your half bind with that bend of the elbow. Nice. One more breath in this twist. If you found that half bind, go ahead and release it. Bring it on back around. Take that right arm. You can again lift if you'd like to complete that. Bring it back down. Place it underneath that shoulder. Same thing left side. Just a little hold there. Inhale, that left arm comes up. Exhale, it comes down and through. Placing that left shoulder down onto the mat. Again, you can keep that arm here for support. You can extend out for a shoulder stretch, or you can bring it up and over for that half bind, that opening of the shoulders a little more. Fabulous. If you found that half bind, go ahead and release it. Again, if you'd like that completion by that extra lift, feel free to take it. And then that left hand comes down underneath that shoulder, downward facing dog. Curl those toes under, press those hips up and back. A little stretch for those hamstrings, for those calves. Three-legged dog, right foot presses up and back. A little bend through that left knee as we sweep it underneath. Place that shin down onto the mat. Top of that left foot meets. Inhale to that long spine. Exhale to sink into it. Nice. We've got two nice deep breaths here. Trying to find that exhale, sending it to your lower back, sending it to your shoulders, sending it to your jaw, muscles in your face. Let your tongue come away from your mouth. Nice. Next inhale brings you to those palms. Through our three-legged dog to our other side. Final half pigeon. Curl the left toe under. Send those hips up. Right foot up. Right goes down to meet the left. Left comes up. Send that left leg under. Shin meets the mat. Top of that right foot meets. Inhale up. Exhale down. Awesome. Same thing here. Trying to find that little bit of extra relaxation, that little bit of extra release here. Nice. That next inhale brings us back to those palms. We just got to finish out with that dolphin to plank to sphinx. So curling that right toe under. Left foot goes to our three-legged dog. And then it comes down to meet the right. Elbows come down into that dolphin, whether you drop those knees first or go directly from that down dog. Excellent. A little bit of that pressing back into the chest, opening up through the chest. Using those shoulders. Fabulous. Let's take it into our low plank. Shoulders come right over top of those elbows. Hips come down. Nice and solid and strong here through these last couple moments of our low plank. Excellent. One more big inhale. Exhale, releases those hips down to the mat. Tops of those feet meet. Little sphinx for just a moment. If you'd like, you can stay right there, or you can plant those hands and bring it to that cobra. Nice. Our final transition to that downward facing dog, curling those toes under. Again, you can take that chest down first, or you can go right from wherever you are to those hips coming up and back. Nice. Go ahead and bend those knees. Separate hop those feet forward to meet those hands. Taking just an extra moment here. Again, maybe that side to side feels good. Maybe a little lateral stretch on that lower back from those camels. Maybe you let the shoulders kind of release and relax, the head and the neck release and relax. Maybe nice and easy, you shake the head yes or no. Nice and slow and controlled. Awesome. Bringing it back to center if you found any of those extra ranges of motion. Our next inhale, super slow, vertebrae by vertebrae. Go ahead and roll it up. Start with those hips. Bringing that spine up to where they can turn under, and then one at a time, and then those shoulders, and then the neck at the top. Our inhale takes those arms out and up. Lateral stretch, right arm comes down, left arm comes up. Inhale up through center. Same thing, second side. Inhale up to center. Exhale, circle the arms down and around. You can either press those palms towards each other behind the back or interlace behind the back. Open through the chest, pull the shoulder blades together. Big exhale to release. All right, I want you to take those feet to about shoulder width apart. We're gonna do just kind of an active spinal twist. First one is gonna release that heel. So just kind of twisting side to side. You can find more of a reach, or you can keep those elbows bent, and then other side releasing that heel. So maybe you kind of do a little pulse there. Maybe you just go nice and easy side to side. Like I said, maybe you find that reach. One more each direction. And then bringing back to center. And then our final kind of active spinal twist, we're gonna twist towards our lifted knee. So I'm gonna take my left leg and I'm gonna lift it up and I'm gonna twist towards that. So just kind of like a little counter twist there. Just that nice, easy, however deep you need to take it, however intense. Maybe take one or two on that first side and then one or two on that second side. Awesome. Alrighty. When you finish those, we've got 2 nice deep breaths to finish us out on that second one. Those palms will meet overhead. Our first one, the inhale takes us out and up. Exhale brings us down and around. Second one, those palms meet up overhead. Inhale takes us out and up. Palms meet, and we pull those hands down to heart center. All right, you guys. Thank you, as always, for joining me on this lovely Monday evening. Thank you for coming back for the extra little bit of work. I appreciate you guys being here. Have an excellent rest of your Monday, great rest of your week. See you next time. The light in me honors the light in you, bowing as we say, namaste.